all. This is at Don Hall Works YouTube channel, and on my channel we explore the visual arts with an emphasis on ceramic arts. In this video we're going to explore the figurative sculptures of Sarah Merola. Sarah lives and works in Oakland, California. Her ceramic sculptures of babies are both artistically inspiring and emotionally challenging. I'll let her describe in her own words her exceptional work.
Hi, I'm Sarah Merola, and I am a ceramic sculptor from Oakland, California. So generally speaking, my work recently has been about, I sculpt children and dolls, and then I put a zipper on them, and then they often look kind of damaged. So the idea behind the process is I like the juxtaposition of discordant parts. So you have a child, and a child is sort of the symbol of innocence, and then the surface is flaking and cracking to kind of symbolize that innocence has lost. And then I also secure a zipper on the back or some other spot on the piece. And so the idea of a zipper is that when you put a zipper on something, it becomes a container. And we as people are filled by our experiences. When we're kids, our parents want to put their hopes and their dreams and their desires into us, but then they also will often, put their neuroses, their prejudice, and all of these things. And some of my work is armless, and that kind of talks about how, especially as children, we're really powerless to the situations that happen to us. Often we can be born into a great family, or we can be born into a war or poverty, and we have little control over these experiences, and then stuff just happens to us. And so a zipper seems really secure, but with one tug, things can come spilling out, or you could fill it. And so I like that imagery on the piece. And then I often put it in places where it's not easily reachable by the child, so that it really speaks to how they have little control over this. In addition, so when I'm making my work, I use real zippers in the work. So I spend a lot of time really trying to make sure that they are secured in the body. And so, the process is really, so what happens is I make the piece, I make sure that the zipper is as secure as I can make it, but since they weren't meant to be fired in the kiln, there's a loss of control. And I think that trying to do everything you can and then just sort of not having control over the second part really speaks back to the ideas that I'm trying to convey. So I put the work in the kiln and just sort of like hope it works out. And then sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised, and sometimes it can melt away and it becomes a wound. And that sort of unpredictability for me is part of what draws me to the process. So I decided that I wanted to make my pieces a little bit older, and the thought was that if they're toddlers, they have more autonomy and they can interact more with the space, and I thought that that was kind of an interesting challenge. Like babies, because they can't move much, they just kind of like lay there like pudding, and a toddler is curious and wants to interact with the world. So for this, I had this idea or this vision of like a little kid kind of gazing down. I wanted the mirror because I wanted it sort of, that wonder of, not knowing who they are, or just like exploring who they are. And then also, mirrors and water are also reflective. So I liked that repetition of ideas. And then I decided not to make the piece nude, because I felt like with the mirror that would be kind of too much genitalia, and that's kind of not what the piece was about. Like I wanted the piece to be more about like discovering and interacting with the world. And again, I added a zipper because I think that, constantly we're always being filled by our experiences.